Hey guys, Magnus here, bringing you another video. Now, this one I kind of wanted to do, like a brief sort of video going over my top 10 favourite characters from The Simpsons. I mean, most of them are kind of self-explanatory and they're a bit obvious, why they would be my favourite characters. But obviously, I kind of wanted to do some more Simpsons related stuff, seeing as there's not really much top 10 lists I can do for Tap at the minute. I might get around to thinking of something else. I was thinking about doing some, I don't know, I'm not even too sure to be honest. Maybe a top 10 episode tie-ins. That was something I was thinking of, or at least like a top 5 episode tie-ins and a top 5 best and a top 5 worst. I'm not really too sure about that, but we'll get into this thing. So yeah, my top 10 favorite characters. So coming in at number 10 is Lionel Hutz. Now, this is kind of one of the reasons I really want Lionel Hutz into the game. I want Troy McClure more because, well, although I'd say like Troy McClure was more relevant for the game. That's why I kind of want Troy McClure more, because I feel like the whole hi, I'm Troy McClure, you may see me. He'd be perfect for presenting any event, and that's why I kind of want him a little bit more than Lionel Hutz. But I put Lionel Hutz as number 10 as my favourite character because I think in the show he's much better. And I kind of, in a way, if I had to pick one to be added into the game, I would still probably pick Troy McClure because I think he'd be a better fit for any event. But in terms of my favourite character, it would have to be Lionel Hutz out of the two. I know it's a bit confusing, but yeah. So Lionel Hutz is really funny. I really enjoy him in all the episodes. He's not in loads, and of course he's not in any of the modern episodes, but in the older episodes, he was so funny, and honestly, I don't know, something about him. He's so quirky. He's so kind of he's very slapstick at his job. It reminds me a lot of Sol from Breaking Bad, actually. But yeah, he's this kind of like really crappy lawyer, and it's just something about that. It's kind of funny. It's always been, I don't know. It's like a career choice that you probably should. If you're choosing, should probably be very serious about it. And I don't know, the Halloween episode he's in, I thought he was hilarious in that. Some of the other ones when I'm trying to think, actually I don't remember loads, but that's terrible. But yeah, he's in so many episodes. He's such a funny character, and honestly, although he hasn't appeared lately, I'd still put him number 10. Obviously he's no higher though because he's not in many episodes compared to some of these on the list. So number 9 is Grandpa Simpson, or Abe Simpson. So of course he is quite a big character. He's one of the Simpsons families. Of course he's Homer's dad. I just think he's kind of quirky, forgettable old man, and he has that sort of comedy to him because of that. He's really funny. And yeah, I don't know, there's something about him. He's funny. The stories he tells, obviously he's not always too factual with them. It's kind of funny, listening to his stories, war stories and all that. And you can tell that some of it's made up, but it's quite enjoyable. I don't know, I always like it when he does his little flashbacks. And of course, he's just a funny character in general. He says some really outrageous things all the time. He's talking about back in his day and all that, and he's kind of lecturing the Simpsons kids and all that. So yeah, he's a pretty funny character. The next character on my list is actually Krusty the Clown. So again, Krusty the Clown, is a clown. He's meant to be funny. You can kind of understand why I like his character. I mean, it's not just the fact he's funny, it's also the fact, the sort of complexity of the character as well. Obviously, he comes from a Jewish background. He's sort of pressured a lot by his father, and of course we have the whole stuff with his frames and all that in the earlier episodes, and the stuff with him and Sideshow Bob. Really interesting. And honestly, the character as a whole, he's really entertaining. There's something about his character that's just a bit. It's not just because of the comedy. It's because it's it's because of sort of his life, I guess, and the actual character. I like The Simpsons for it mainly. I mean, the main reason I like The Simpsons is because of its comedy, but the story's always good as well. And I thought Krusty the Clown's story was done really well, at least in the early episodes, and some of the later ones as well. I do like him, and I really enjoy him. So yeah, Krusty's there. Number 7 is Mr. Burns. So, again, Mr. Burns, you can't hate Mr. Burns. I just think it's so funny, the concept of this really old, frail man, and he basically runs the whole town essentially, because he's the guy who obviously provides all the power, and without him the town, you know, is powerless. And I like the idea. He's kind of meant to be this bad guy, and he's meant to be, you know, someone you're not meant to really like that very much, and you know, he's a bit of a douchebag, but that's the thing. That's why he's such a good character. You know, he's really funny. I mean, some of his musical numbers, they're really funny as well. You know, the "See My Vest" thing, you know, that was really funny. And there's some, you know, there's some really good moments with Mr. Burns, and honestly, I would say he's really good character, and I wouldn't be surprised if some people even, you know, listed him as like their number 1 character or their number 2. Anyway, number 6 is Lisa. So, I mean, Lisa, she's okay. I'm not like a huge fan of Lisa. I mean, that's why she's only number 6. I mean, I put her just above Mr. Burns mainly because I feel like, you know, Lisa's meant to be this smart character, and although it's not always entertaining to see the smart character, because the whole point, well, I always see it's funnier to laugh at the stupid people than laugh at the smart people, if you know what I mean. And of course, Lisa's meant to be this really clever one, but I would say that I more like her story and the stories that she goes through and all that, more than the comedy that she sort of provides, because I don't really think she's that much of a comedic aspect of the story. I'd say that she's more really there to be the sort of clever thing, you know, the sort of clever clogs in the scenarios, and but yeah, there's some really good episodes with Lisa, you know, especially with her, and in the earlier episodes with her and I forget his name now, Bleeding Gums Murphy, and you know, when she was obviously doing the saxophone and stuff, obviously stuff with the school as well, really fun with that. Obviously she's sort of a bit smarter than Skinner in a lot of ways as well, and you know, I just generally think she's a really cool character, and really fun to watch, and some of her focus episodes are some pretty decent episodes. So yeah, number 5 is Apu. Now honestly, Apu is such a really good sort of like side character. I guess kind of a bit of this would have to do with Hit and Run, because I remember in Hit and Run you played as Apu in one of the levels, and it was so fun. And maybe that has a bit of an influence on this decision. So be it. But I feel like Apu is really funny. Obviously the convenient clerk, of course I mean, let's say he's the immigrant, but he's the fun immigrant. You know, he's not this illegal. He's this, and I don't know. There's something about it. It's the fact that he's first of all, he's an Indian immigrant. He's a Hindu, which is again, it's a different religion. It's just a different culture. So it's interesting to see that. But he also is quite proud to be an American at the same time, and you obviously see that in a lot of these episodes where he's playing doing the American flag and all that, and I like that. I mean, yeah, I just think he's a really fun character. Obviously, you know, thank you, come again. It's just funny, and you have some really funny moments with him as well. Some funny things he says to Homer. Honestly, I think that Apu is one of the funnier characters there. I don't think people notice it a lot of the time. I don't think people actually notice that that he is actually a really funny character. Especially in the early episodes, and the later episodes I even like him. I mean, some of the best moments in the later episodes are actually with Apu and the Cookie Mart. I think they're hilarious, some of the moments, and I think that's where, honestly, I was watching a couple of the newer episodes on one of the newer seasons, and there was like a scene in pretty much every episode with Apu where Homer was in or Bart was in or something, and it was like, that was the one moment I laughed. So because of something Apu said or something that happened with Apu, but Apu was there. That was the variant. The recurring variant is he was there. Anyway, moving on. Number 4 is Marge. So again, Marge, she is kind of this core mainstay character. She is pretty fun. I mean, I don't like all of her storylines, I'm going to be honest. There's some storylines that Marge has in some episodes which I honestly hate, and they're the reason I don't like the episodes very much. And I think it is mainly because Marge has taken the centerpiece. Some of the time, anyway. And to be honest with you, I have a kind of thing with females in fiction. A lot of things don't do female characters very good, and I think female characters can be as good as male characters. You know, nothing to say they can't, but sometimes they sort of lack a little bit. Like you're meant to make the female not just relate to females, but relate to everyone. That's the whole point. I think Marge does that. I think Marge is a good character. Generally, she is a really strong female character in The Simpsons, and you know, it's the sort of stuff she does as a mother. The muscular Marge episode when she gets all tough and all that, that's honestly probably in my top 20 episodes. Really good episode that one was. She obviously beats up the bully, beats up the thug who robbed her. I really love that episode. It was really, really funny, especially when you see her beat him up. And Marge does have some funny moments, and although she can also be this similar to a bit like Lisa, this sort of she's only really there for the story, not for the comedy. Because she's a bit smarter than the men, essentially. I mean, that's how they are all portrayed, at least the Simpsons family. The Homer and Bart are like seen as quite stupid, while Lisa and Marge, especially Lisa, maybe not so much Marge, but especially Lisa, seen as much smarter. But yeah, I still think that Marge is a really, really good character. So anyway, number three, I'm actually going to put Mo. So I'm putting Mo here because honestly I think he's a really, really fun character. All of his episodes I like. He appears regularly in the bar as it is, and he's really, really funny again. It's this sort of depressing man who's never really found love, who, lives on his own, doesn't really have any family, and it's just a sad thing to see. But at the same time, it's kind of funny. I mean, you laugh at his character because of it, but then you realise why he's so depressed and all that, and why he's so angry all the time. And it's a bit deep, isn't it? But honestly, his character's so funny. I mean, Mo wouldn't be. I don't think the Simpsons would be the same without Mo. If Mo was to leave, I don't think it would be. I think it would lose viewers. But yeah, Mo in the earlier episodes anyway. I mean, some of my favourite episodes are the ones where he kind of mixes up his bar. Of course, the Flaming Mo episode is one of my favourites. That's a brilliant episode, and it's kind of centred around Mo and Homer and their sort of relationship. And then we also have the one with Bart sells his soul, and of course in the background we have the whole Mo and the family fair feedback thing, and that was really fun as well. That was a really, really fun episode as well. So yeah, Mo is a really, really good character. I really enjoy Mo, and he's just really funny. Anyway, number 2 is Bart Simpson. So I've put Bart here because honestly, again, like I said, it's funny to laugh at the stupid person, and Bart necessarily isn't always the stupid person, but he can be smart at the same time. But it's interesting to see Bart's character. I really like Bart's character. He does a lot. Obviously, he does so many funny things. It's kind of unheard of. Some of my favourite episodes, again, Bart sells his soul. It's primarily Bart, and they're kind of him learning a valid life lesson. And then we have other ones like the Treehouse of Horror episode. Like he was quite a main character in that, at least. The stuff with him and Sideshow Bob is brilliant. The relationship with him and Krusty, him and the stuff with him and his dad, even the stuff with him and Lisa. I just think Bart's a really, really good character, and there's definitely the second best character there. And I know it's kind of a cliche to say that Bart's the second character, and it's going to be even a bigger cliche when I tell you that number 1 is, but you probably guessed that. But yeah, so let's move on to my number 1. Can we have that drum roll? So it's kind of obvious. It's Homer Simpson. I mean, I was thinking maybe Mo number 1, but then I really thought, would I, if I had to choose a character to leave, if I had to choose one to go, would I choose Homer or Mo? Of course I'd choose Mo to go. I mean, Mo's a cool character, but Homer is the best. Homer's the reason The Simpsons is successful, and I really pinpoint it on him. If Homer's character wasn't as funny and as complex and as stupid and as dumb and as laughable as he is, I don't think The Simpsons would be the same. I really don't. I mean, you can say Bart's a cool character. Yeah, he is, but I wouldn't say he's the main character. I wouldn't say he's, I feel like if there was an episode without Bart, it could still be a really, really good episode. And it's the same for all the other characters. I just think that Homer is the one that needs to always be in, like, pretty much every episode. I'm sure he's in every episode. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 where he's not. But Homer's just a really, really funny character. And there's not really much more to say. I try to justify it, but let's be honest. There's too many episodes to count where Homer is just hilarious. I mean, the Stonecutters episode, brilliant episode. Really, really good, and of course it's centered around Homer. The Movementarian episode, of course, I kind of say that's one of my favorites. I really like that one. And of course, it's mainly on Homer, being blinded by this new religion. And there's a lot of things. I mean, Homer overall is stupid. Let's be honest. That's the whole point of his character. He has a crayon stuck up his nose, or in his brain, lodged in his brain, and that's just how he is. And you're meant to laugh at him. That's the whole point. I mean, you're meant to laugh that he's stupid. That's the point of the comedy. And it really, really comes down to the fact that when I was trying to kind of think to who would be my number 1, I kind of had to thought, well, who could we honestly not live without in The Simpsons? And I think Homer is honestly the one we couldn't live without. Marge, I think we could get rid of her and we could still work. Lisa, I think we can get rid of her and it'd still be funny. Bart, I mean, that's a tricky one, but I'd still say that if we had an episode without Bart and it was Homer, maybe even a season without Bart and it was Homer and his friends and maybe some of Bart's friends, I don't know, Bart's away or something, I don't know. I think it could still be really, really funny. But I just think Homer is necessary, and it's a bit of a cliche that I'm making the sort of the main protagonist the best character. But I mean, I can't really argue it. I mean, I couldn't really find a better argument against it, if you know what I mean. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little video. It's my little top 10 list. So please give me your top 5 or your top 10, or if you can't do that, give me at least your top 3. Come on, you can do your top 3. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next video. Goodbye.